With all due respect, we've been training for what, 2 months? And I haven't even worn the ring yet.
Don't get hung up on the jewelry, Junior. You're just a fucking substitute teacher. You're not ready to get up in front of the class until the ring says you are.
All right.
I could have died.
You want me to train you? I'm training you. Something is off here. I can feel it.
This is my town.
You're a big shot. Noted. But stay the fuck out of my way.
Think she hates your guts.
It's the way she hates them.
This is a stupid plan.
Not that stupider.
That I don't doubt. The Green Lantern's oath is to protect people. And we both know I do a better job of this than you.
This is my job. As long as I'm alive, that ain't changing. So take a deep breath, Junior.
You're old. You're tired. And your time is up.
I don't understand. Who are you exactly?
Hal Jordan, Green Lantern.
Have you ever talked with the other Lanterns?
I'm the only human. They're aliens. One of them's a fucking squirrel.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. The Lanterns trailer leaked out, so HBO released it officially. Their tagline is, "You manifested it early," as in manifesting Green Lantern constructs from the ring. So it's one of those rare cases where they actually just lean into the leak. Usually HBO does not do that. James Gunn probably put his finger on the scales and was just like, just go ahead and release it early. Who cares? He also did say when he first got the job to become the Kevin Feige of DC, one of the earliest calls was to Ryan Reynolds about coming back as his Hal Jordan in the DCU, which was meant to be a joke, and obviously Ryan Reynolds basically told him to screw off, so I don't think there's any chance of Ryan Reynolds cameoing on the series. There are a bunch of Easter eggs and references. Obviously is meant to be the Lanterns on Earth, Green Lantern characters on Earth beyond Guy Gardner that we saw during the first Superman movie. He'll be back during the second Superman movie, Man of Tomorrow, too. There are a couple references in this trailer to the other members of the Green Lantern Corps, including Chip, who is the squirrel Green Lantern from another planet. As you can tell from the vibe of the trailer, they're basically trying to show you what it would be like if Green Lanterns actually existed in the real world, as opposed to, say, like Ryan Reynolds' Hal Jordan Green Lantern, which went like full comic booky with the CG animated supersuit. Make all the Deadpool jokes that you want.
And please don't make the supersuit green or animated.
One of the other reasons for setting this on Earth is also to keep the budget down, because Green Lantern normally would be really expensive because you'd have to use a lot of special effects to do all the different lantern constructs. We get a little bit of Hal Jordan using the ring during the trailer. We actually see a lantern battery that he uses to power his ring up. Guy Gardner would also have a version of this too on Earth, which is also meant to be a reference to deep cut Alan Scott Green Lantern battery stuff. Alan Scott wasn't in the Hall of Justice mural during the first Superman movie. They kind of alluded to Justice Society era heroes, though, like the previous metahumans before Superman actually assumes the identity of Superman and begins acting around the world saving people. One of the other big reveals from the Lanterns trailer here is that the episodes are dropping in August after the Supergirl movie. That was the big thing, that they were waiting till after Supergirl to drop the series. We will see if there are any kind of Lantern references during the Supergirl movie. I'm not expecting to see a whole bunch of Green Lantern stuff during that, but we could see some Easter eggs for more Green Lanterns. Just starting at the beginning of the trailer and working our way through shot by shot, talking about Easter eggs, WTF moments, and references to the classic comics. At the beginning of the trailer, we see Hal Jordan training John Stewart on their way to investigate a murder in a small Nebraska town in the Midwest where the majority of the series is meant to take place. They have not said who's been killed, but you see the explosion here, and there are a lot of really trippy Twin Peaks-style Easter eggs that they play with reality a little bit, making you wonder what's really going on, the way you're perceiving things. So it's supposed to be very cosmic in nature. Earlier, James Gunn said that the murder itself, like what happens during this series, will have larger ramifications for the future of the entire DCU. So I think it's meant to involve very, very serious, very big characters, very big stakes. And it seems like John Stewart has recently become a member of the Green Lantern Corps, and he's complaining to Hal Jordan that he hasn't even gotten to wear his Green Lantern ring yet, which he challenges him with a little test here. Takes his Green Lantern ring off, puts it on the dash, then bails out of the car, and I believe this is meant to be a Buick Grand National from the 90s. Great, great car. Hopefully the car survives this fall. There are a lot of people that got upset about this when they put this clip in the last trailer, like how dare he do that to that Buick Grand National? More worried about the car than they are about John Stewart. Notice that it has California plates. That's because it's Hal Jordan's car and he is from Coast City. It is in California. You also notice, zoom and enhance on Hal Jordan's Green Lantern ring, there's already some yellow seeping into the ring. So that's why a lot of people have wondered if we'll see Hal Jordan parallax at some point in the future of the DCU. James Gunn has done a lot of cosmic movies before, like he was Mr. Guardians of the Galaxy at Marvel, Mr. Cosmic Movie.
As long as I'm alive, that ain't changing.
But it's actually Damon Lindelof who's behind this HBO series. Like, they're using a lot of Watchmen energy. Damon Lindelof also been a lifelong Green Lantern fan. This is him wearing a Green Lantern t-shirt to the premiere of Lost back when he was much, much younger, way back in the day. When Hal Jordan says that he's not ready to get up in front of the class until the ring says that he's ready, it's part of the idea that the ring selects who is most worthy to wear it next. And it's going to be Aaron Pierre's John Stewart who winds up being the Green Lantern on the Justice League when it eventually forms in the future out of the current Justice Gang.
How could they have gotten in?
Only one way, with Batman's transmitter.
Maybe they'll also do something similar with Barry Allen in the DCU, James Gunn's DCU, because they spent so much time with Barry Allen during the Grant Gustin Flash TV show and during the Ezra Miller DCEU era. Barry Allen being older in the DCU, training a younger Wally West, Kid Flash, who becomes the main version of the regular Flash on the Justice League eventually. There are a couple Easter eggs for that in some previous DCU productions like Creature Commandos and Flash Forwards, just implying that it might be Wally West on James Gunn's Justice League eventually. Based on the vibe of Hal Jordan in the trailer here, though, it seems like he has been active in a number of big space battles and engagements, and the way they play it is that he's not super friendly or super close with the other members of the Green Lantern Corps, including Guy Gardner, because I love the way that John Stewart asked him in the trailer, you ever hang out with the other Green Lanterns? And he's like, what are you talking about? I talked to most of them are aliens. Notice that he does not mention Guy Gardner, probably because he kind of hates him. Feels very on brand for the tone of Guy Gardner during the first Superman movie. Like, of course, the other Green Lanterns would probably hate him. But even though this does make Hal Jordan seem like kind of a dick, you notice that there's some food next to him too. So he actually ordered food for John Stewart, expecting that he would survive. So it wasn't like he was expecting him to die. Then they drive the rest of the way into town. Notice he is not driving the Buick Grand National, so maybe pour one out for the Grand National. But when he says something is off, that just might be the way whichever villain is responsible for this murder that has gone down during the series is warping reality, just messing with people's perception here. We get a wide shot of a town hall meeting with the sheriff, the authorities, and it seemed like they're just treating this like a normal killing that has gone down. They're trying to solve what actually happened, and then Hal Jordan and John Stewart show up because something much bigger is at play. You can let me know in the comments who you think it was that was killed. Guy Gardner is meant to show up during the series, but I don't think that it's him that they're killing off. This is meant to be the sheriff when she says, "This is my town." She's also meant to be a potential love interest for Hal Jordan. Zoom and enhance on her name tag. It says her last name is Kane. The only Kane I think of when I think of DC Comics is Martha Wayne, who was Martha Kane. She's from the Kane family, but I don't think that this is meant to be a reference to Martha Wayne Batman-related stuff.
Why did you say that name?
No idea who this character is that seems like he's in a fight with Hal Jordan and John Stewart with the guns pulled on him, if he's some sort of cosmic entity like an alien that's hiding out here, or somebody that actually has powers, or just a mob boss type of character like a human character who is a powerful person. But it does look like they have a big fight in this bar. Then another big deep cut reference who some of you probably picked up on. It seems like whoever got killed on a football field, which feels like a Kyle Chandler Friday Night Lights kind of reference. There's a real quick shot of a bunch of bullet shells on the ground and Hal Jordan wearing his Green Lantern ring. Maybe somebody tries to fire on him and he just uses his constructs to stop the bullets. Then it seems like there's some giant impact crater from something that has crashed to Earth, either a missile, something's blown up, or like a pod has crashed to Earth. Also feels like a bit of a Superman deep cut reference, but obviously it's not meant to be Superman's pod. It seems like something crashed to Earth and blew up this car here at the entrance to a gate to a property here. And notice on the sign that was above the gate actually reads, "Study the Past," which also feels like a very trippy type of deep cut reference. Then we get our first look at Hal Jordan's Green Lantern suit. Notice it is not CG, it is not super suit like Ryan Reynolds calls out in Deadpool. Thank you very much for that. But it's meant to be based on the Earth 1 Hal Jordan suit, which was meant to be a more real-world vibe for the comics, as opposed to him generating the suit like a Green Lantern construct from the ring itself. Like this is a physical suit that he climbs into and then hangs up in the closet the same way that Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner does with his costume too. John Stewart also references the Green Lantern's oath. "In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light." We will see if somebody says the full oath during the series at some point. Then there are a couple of deep cut references that you probably picked up in this flashing motel sign too. It seems like there's an like something has blown the sign up, something has crashed here, but the flashing lights are meant to spell out OA as in the Oans. And you also notice the HBO logo is on here too. It's the original HBO logo because the show is on HBO networks. It's an HBO show. James Gunn was kind of cagey when he said whether or not we'd be spending time on Oa during the series. There might be a couple flashbacks. Most of the series, like 99% of the series though, is meant to take place on Earth. So if we do see Oa, it'll be like very briefly during the series, or Oans will probably show up, but maybe in like very, very quick ways. We get a couple cheeky scenes of John Stewart taking the piss out of Hal Jordan, implying that he will become a greater Green Lantern than he is, also trying to say that he's a better people person than Hal Jordan, like he's better at dealing with the people here in the town to find out what's really going on with this killing. They are really leaning into the idea that this Kyle Chandler, older version of Hal Jordan, is very, very bitter at this point based on all the things that have happened to him over the years.
He does it, just us, because we are also of the cloth.
When he says, "This is my job, as long as I'm alive, that ain't changing," people also wondering if they're going to kill him off Ned Stark style during the series, because HBO, Game of Thrones, you think of Ned Stark, big twist, kill the big main character during the series that you didn't expect to die. We don't really know what's going to happen to Hal Jordan long term, but Kyle Chandler's contract that he signed with DC was just for this series, and Aaron Pierre's contract for John Stewart actually extends to movies as well too, which is why I say I think they're setting up John Stewart to become the Green Lantern of the Justice League at some point. But I also think part of the idea is that they're trying to build in the idea that Kyle Chandler doesn't need to stick around in like 10 other movies if he doesn't want to do more movies. So maybe he does survive the series and they just wait to include him in other projects if Kyle Chandler wants to come back after this. But at least the way that James Gunn talked about the series, it is meant to run multiple seasons. So like this isn't meant to be a limited series. We will get beyond season 1 if things go well, I think. They're probably waiting till after the first couple of episodes before they renew it for season 2. Not totally clear who these other characters are. I think they're meant to be other antagonists that they run up against during the season, but I don't know if they're secretly meant to be big comic book characters with powers that are just hiding out, or they're just random people that are living in the town that just prove to be antagonists. Not totally clear who this organization is that's roughing up John Stewart. Maybe it's a local mob, mafia stuff, or it's part of some larger organization. We will see. We get a couple shots of them going into the city morgue to investigate the person that was killed. Still don't know who that is yet, but lots of references to Hal Jordan being older, John Stewart being the new guard, taking over for him eventually. They really do want to make it seem like he is going to take over for him by the end of this series. Then there's a new scene of Hal Jordan investigating some explosion, some attack that's happened recently because everything's still on fire around him. So it does seem like larger stuff is happening to them while they're in the town. Then this person jumping out of the back of the plane, I believe is meant to be Aaron Pierre's John Stewart, just like part of a military scene of him in the middle of some operation. Maybe it's part of some flashback. We will also probably get flashbacks for Hal Jordan that don't appear in the trailer here, because we do know that Sinestro is supposed to appear during the actual series, and it'll probably be to explain his origin and how he wound up training Hal Jordan, just to mirror the scenes of Hal Jordan training John Stewart and his bitterness over the way things fell out with his original mentor, and probably get into the idea of why he's so reticent to train someone new, get close to someone new, the way that he tried to get close to his original mentor. Part of the idea is that Sinestro was meant to be one of the greatest Green Lanterns until he had his falling out with the Green Lantern Corps and felt like they should be using the Yellow Lantern spectrum. We will see if Sinestro shows up in present day though, but I'm assuming that he hasn't created the Sinestro Corps yet, but he does have his Yellow Lantern ring. Then there are a couple more explosions. We see Hal Jordan use the ring to fly off into the sky. We actually see him doing some Green Lantern things, use some Green Lantern powers. We get a really quick shot of his lantern battery that he uses to recharge his ring, which is a deep cut reference to Alan Scott Green Lantern. They've kind of changed the way that this works across different eras in the comics, but Green Lanterns regularly need to recharge their rings at the Oan battery or at these smaller batteries like you see Hal Jordan using on Earth here. So it seems like this is what they're doing in the DCU. James Gunn is just saying that he keeps this around and recharges his ring using this, so he doesn't need to go back to Oa on a regular basis to recharge the ring. I think the actual context of this scene, though, is that it's John Stewart holding the power battery, and he is going to wield his Green Lantern ring in a moment here. Like, that's why he's actually holding it, because he's about to whip out his Green Lantern ring. Then there's a really quick montage of scenes, and you see a couple goons holding up some sort of alien tech advanced-looking gun to John Stewart's head. So it does seem like there's some sort of alien tech in play with whatever group this is. Maybe they're connected to one of the evil organizations inside the DC universe or one of the more powerful organizations. We will see. My assumption is that they wrote this series largely to be self-contained with some light references to things that are happening in the other big DCU movies like Man of Tomorrow, for instance, because that's coming out after this. Supergirl's coming out after this, but it's taking place in a completely different planet, so they don't need to reference it quite as much. Maybe we'll see some light touch references to stuff that was happening on Peacemaker because that was another HBO DC show, but part of the idea is they don't want you to have to watch all those other things to understand what's happening during this. My assumption is that during the series they'll just reference some of the events of the first Superman movie, like things that have just gone down recently inside the DCU that would be common knowledge around America and planet Earth in general. We will see if there are any other real big cameo scenes, though. Like, I'm not expecting Superman to show up on this series, or like Lex Luthor like he did during Peacemaker, but because we did see a couple big cameos during that, I would not be surprised if there was some kind of big cameo of some sort during this series. But you can let me know in the comments, who do you think cameos or shows up during this series? Then they end the trailer with a little end credit scene for the actual trailer, with Hal Jordan just roughing up someone that he's interrogating and getting ready to use his lantern ring on him, or at least threaten to use his lantern ring on him. There's so much new footage, so much going on during this trailer. If you think you spotted any Easter eggs or references that I didn't talk about during the video, just write them below in the comments, and post all your reactions in the comments too. I know there's going to be a billion questions about what's going to happen with James Gunn in the DCU now that Paramount is buying Warner Brothers. For now, Paramount seems like they want James Gunn to stay and they want him to continue with his DCU. What might wind up happening long term, though, like after the next 4 or 5 years, is that they just start to pressure him to do the most popular or what they feel will be the most financially successful projects, and it'll be harder for James Gunn to do the really weird, really fringe stuff like Creature Commandos, for instance, like lesser known stuff than you would normally expect him to try to do, because it's kind of his thing, is doing really obscure characters. James Gunn's contract right now extends to 2027. We will see what happens after that, but I expect him to stay until at least his full DC Chapter 1 is done, which basically extends to like the first real big team up, like Justice League type of movie. I don't know if it'd be an actual Justice League movie, but they've been implying that it will culminate in a Justice League movie, like the actual Justice League forming. There was also just an Invincible Season 4 trailer video. I was in the middle of making that when they dropped this early, so I'll finish that video and post it as soon as possible. We're also supposed to get another big trailer for The Boys Season 5, so I'll post that video as soon as they do release the official version of that next trailer. So be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss anything. Speaking of more big DC movies, I just did a big Lobo trailer that they released for the Supergirl movie. Click here for that, and click here for my Invincible trailer video too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.